about it.
If I looked like you, he'd be talking to me that way too.
Yeah.
But I don't. Charlie and I gotta go. Charlie and I have to go fuck off. How'd you lose 12 pounds, Ronnie?
So I started doing, I stuck to intermittent fasting and started working out at the gym again. I finally got myself back into that mode. I just did a 48-hour fast. I ended it last night at 7:00. And again, feel amazing. I think I told you this before. I did one last year and I got rid of all my inflammation in my discs and in my neck, and a lot of
really good.
Yeah.
What when you broke the fast, what kind of foods did you eat to come back in?
Bone broth.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like foods.
Yeah.
Soup and that kind of thing. Yeah.
Did some bone broth, and then a little while later I had some of my salmon and some rice.
Yeah. How long have you done a fast? Is it 48 hours your longest?
72 hours.
I did a fast for 7 days, and the crazy thing is like at the seventh day, or after I got past 4 days, my tongue started turning all kinds of different colors.
You told me
all
that,
those toxins. Yeah, all those toxins were coming out of the body.
Because
it was insane.
Okay, so
it was like a rainbow.
Of course, he's my fitness expert and helps me through this stuff and tries to get me to do crazy things. Okay, so he made me do an 8-day fast. I wanted to beat him just one extra day.
Did you do it?
I did it, and it was freaking tough. But my tongue did not change colors.
Mine did. It was unreal.
You must have been real toxic, man.
Yeah, I'm very toxic, just normally.
No,
so
I did.
Kara, so what do you think the biggest thing that you got from it was? Besides obviously the amazing part of accomplishing it, but
I lost 8 pounds. I literally lost a pound a day. We were very fascinated at what my body was doing, but we were ramping it. So, I was doing some stuff, and then it was like, okay, let's hit it hardcore. So yeah, I lost 8 pounds. I was ready we had like a little show or something we were doing. So I was in the best shape I had been in. But I felt good. I felt on the 4th day, I stopped like needing food. It wasn't like constantly on my mind. It wasn't something I was craving anymore. It didn't have that power over me that it has over a lot of people. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I found that all the alerts went away. Like when I was hungry, like you said,
alerts. Yeah, it's
like I forgot about food.
Mm-hmm.
And the 4th day, I don't know, I'm not big into scripture or religion or anything like that, but the 4th day he arose again. On the 4th day, I felt like unbelievable, like euphoric and almost manic. It felt that good.
Now, what did you give yourself as far as like, what did you allow yourself in the 7 days? Just water?
Water and any fruit juice, nothing that had bulk to it, because you want your body at rest. So you don't, like yogurt, for example, I wouldn't do that, but any kind of fruit juice.
Yeah, I was doing water, broth. Tea.
I did coffee for one. I did these a couple times, but I did one with coffee, one without.
And then I did juice that had like no bulk in it. And then I started like playing around with it. And so I would like give myself, my breakfast was water, my lunch was broth, and then I'd treat myself to a really nice juice for dinner. That's
like what kind of juice? Orange juice?
Yeah, I did orange juice. I did apple juice. I did sangria juice.
What about cranberry?
I did cranberry juice. I swear I had like 7 different juices.
Well, wouldn't the orange juice like raise your insulin levels though?
Well, it was actually a lifesaver because at certain times I would get really lightheaded, like I was going to pass out, and I needed that sugar to get me back up. Like, I mean, really about to pass out.
All right. So what you're saying is you cheated. You didn't really fast for like 7-8 days. You cheated.
Yeah, that's considered a fast.
No, it's definitely a fast.
I'll tell you what, the mind it plays games with you, because when I got to day 4, I thought at day 4 and 5, I could do this for 30 days, but I knew I was only doing it for 7. When I got to day 6, shit started happening in my head. It's like, oh God, it was probably harder from day 6 to day 7 than it was the whole other time, because I knew it was coming off.
Day 2, I had an amazing workout at the gym, and I actually did weights in the morning, and then I did cardio in the afternoon, and I felt amazing. The next day, when I was getting to 48 hours, the last 2 hours were the toughest, because I was going to go to like 60 the next morning, and I was like trying to fight it. I hit the 48-hour mark, and I was just like, I need something. And I was just like, no, let's do it. Let's see if we can get there. And I just couldn't do it. I just got too hungry, and it was game
Okay, over. So after you did your fast, you dropped some weight, I assume, but how much of that was actual, not water weight, but actual weight, do you think, body fat?
I don't know. All I do know is that just the past with the intermittent fasting, and then the 48-day fast on top of that, and the workouts that I've been doing, my face is thinned out for sure.
Yeah, you look different.
My waist is thinning out for sure. I'm starting to feel more harder in my muscles when I do work out, and that's lasting a little bit longer. But I'm not trying to lift to get big. I really want to get my blood pressure down. Yeah. I want to get my liver cleaned, because that's what my dad passed away from, the fatty liver, and I just want to feel good. But also, I've got more projects coming out, so more photo shoots, more music videos, just being active and not carrying that excess weight around and feeling like crap.
Yeah.
And even today, I still feel like this rush of energy that's it could be this espresso and a Zet, but
well, but the thing about it is, I always knew this, like when I was competing in off season, when I was 300 pounds, I was carrying obviously a lot of weight around. When I was like near competition, there was so much energy that I could only sleep a lot of times 2 or 3 hours a day, and I wasn't tired.
Yeah,
because your body has that much energy. But we get bogged down with being overweight and all the stuff that you're talking about. It really does bog you down.
Is that what was happening to me? Because I remember I couldn't sleep during the 7-8 days. I remember I couldn't sleep.
It could have. I mean, it was actually frustrating for me when I was competing, because I wanted to sleep, but I couldn't. My body had too much energy.
Yeah, I couldn't sleep when I was doing that. It was awful.
And when I was 300 pounds, it's like, holy shit, after a meal, I was out. I had no energy. I had just enough energy to train.
I think if I was busier too, and my day was a little bit, because right now, like I got a lot of breaks and stuff like that. So I think if I was able to keep myself busier, I had more things to do.
Yeah.
I would have been able to last longer and keep my mind off of it, as opposed to having more downtime. And then, because that's when I get creative, because I love to cook and I love to eat. So it's just, it's a recipe for disaster.
When I got really creative is when I used to take walks. When I was fasting, I got on this walking regimen where I'd walk for about 10 minutes. And I have so much shit that would go, like when I started my walk, 10 minutes into the walk, all kinds of ideas and projects would come in. There's something that must change with the algorithms or whatever, the beta. I don't know, something changed, because it happened every time I went out and did a walk.
That's my morning showers. My creative time is in the morning in the shower. Thank God I don't have a water bill, because my showers are about an hour long.
Holy shit. What, doesn't the hot water run out? What do you do then?
No, I live in hotels right now. So I'm traveling for work and stuff or whatever, but yeah, it's easier to do this than keep moving apartments and everything else. So, I get up in the morning, I take Rocco out for a walk. I come back in and I get in the shower. And of course, I don't have any hair, so I have to shave. So it takes me a little bit of time to do my manscaping. But I'm literally writing lyrics or projects or notes. Things come to me. For some reason, the water, the sound of the water, the feel of the water. And I'm a Cancer, so it's part of my sign. I just think that I have a connection that way, and that just allows a lot of things to just come to me.
Yeah, interesting. And I assume that you've also been blocked before, where just nothing's going on. Or when I was writing the book, I had like 6 months or 3 months I was blocked, And then all of a sudden, and trying harder was not the answer. It was like letting it go. Let it come to you instead of you trying to chase that, right?
I just got over that hump about a week or so ago, because since Carnivus, have you heard of Carnivus?
No.
You know, that thing that's going around, why everybody's wearing masks.
Coronavirus?
Oh, is that what I thought it was called? Carnivus.
I know you're fucking with me now.
That's what I do when I go into Walmart and I sneeze or whatever. I go Carnivus, just like Festivus for the rest of us from Seinfeld. So I call it Carnivus. Anyway, so yes, so since COVID hit, I had just gotten totally out of creative mode. The last remix that I did was for Jennifer Lopez, and it's a year ago. It's like a year ago this month. Jesus God, it's been that long since I did a remix. It's 1 year now.
Wow.
So back in November of 2019, I did the J-Lo remix for Bailo Conmigo. That went to #1. That was the last piece of work that I had. A couple of edits that went out, like Justin Timberlake and Rosala, and one other one, Chainsmokers. But those weren't remixes. Those were just edits. My creative mindset just went down the shitter.
Yeah.
And just shut it off. And so I just put myself in a mindset of like, okay, I'm going to work. I got a couple of side jobs and I started stacking money. I bought some stocks and I kept myself busy. And I was literally working from like 7 a.m. until 11 o'clock at night. 3 jobs. And in between, I would just, rest. I wasn't doing the gym or anything like that or whatever. My computer was off, never turned on, never even wanted to turn it on, and never did any type of creative writing or anything like that. Just notes every once in a while if I would get an idea like, oh, I like that song. Sometime I should do something similar. I like the way that rhythm pattern is. I like this melody line, or I like this chord progression or whatever. I would make little notes like that. But that was February, March, April, May, June, July, August, September, October. Literally, yeah, up until a week ago. Actually, Election Day. Election Day was the day that mindset changed.
Probably the best thing that happened to you. It's just shut down like that.
Yeah.
Because when you come back in, you're really just, kind of a blank slate again in some ways. Before we wrap this thing up, Ronnie, I want to ask you something. You're, as a producer and the people that you're working with, I would imagine it's kind of like in the industry that I'm in, there's a lot of drama, especially with the competitors. Do you find that there's a lot of drama in your industry, and how do you deal with that? When you're dealing with somebody, I'm not saying that she's a drama queen, but somebody like a really big star like a J-Lo. I mean, are you dealing with a lot of ego, and how do you get around and make you and them productive?
So I have more drama with people that I don't have to see in person. Like, I never met J-Lo. I don't need to meet J-Lo. Their record label hires a promoter hires me. So there's a go-between. The drama sometimes comes in when you're turning in and getting approved by the label, and somebody wants to change your mix or add notes or this, and they don't know their ass from a hole in the ground. But you have to appease them in order to get the record approved and then get paid. So I've never had any drama from any big stars or anybody like that. I remixed 3 Britney records, Rihanna, Katy Perry, Hilary Duff. I can go a bunch of different people. I mean, I've been blessed. 77 top 40 hits and 15 #1s now. Yeah. But the drama comes in on the independent artist side. The ones who think they know it all. The ones who think that every record that they write is a hit, or they think they have what it takes to be on the big stage, and they have no clue, or want to look in the mirror and understand, I'm not there yet. I've got a lot of work to do. Maybe I should just shut up and listen for a second, process what this person's saying to me, and apply it, see how it works. If it doesn't work, well, then maybe I know what I'm doing and that person doesn't. But at least, give that a chance to play itself out. So there's more drama with that. And then recently, there's been more drama with like artists who support Black Lives Matter or the far left, things like, not Antifa, but just like going out and protesting. Like I have one artist in Brooklyn, she's been going out in these protests, and I'm like, you don't understand. They're not loyal to their own.
Right. That's true. They'll eat their own.
Exactly. But they don't get that. 22 years old, 24 years old, they don't understand. 18, 19 years old, and especially when mommy and daddy got loot.
Right.
And they're paying the bills, and they think, oh, this would be a good cause and whatever. I mean, look, I wasn't born in the 60s to know what like the whole Vietnam thing was, and to protest and voice your opinion about that stuff or whatever, like that era did. So this seems like kind of similar, right? Obviously for different motives, right? That was anti-war. This is anti-establishment.
Right.
But the thought process is there. It's just you don't understand the harm and the possible damage that can happen by you putting yourself in that position.
Yeah.
I went to my first Trump rally here at the Pittsburgh airport because I wanted to see Air Force One. Like, just as much as I wanted to hear Trump speak, but I had heard him, every rally he did, you could pretty much memorize the speech. It's, he goes off script, where he's going to go off script, where he's going to come back on. Yeah. I was more fascinated actually about seeing Air Force One up in person and then standing where the press was just to see how that all played out. Because live events, I love that shit.
Yeah.
Right. I like to see the moving parts, and even when I go to concerts and it's my favorite group or whatever, I'm like actually watching what's going on backstage. I'm watching the lights. I'm seeing how things sync up. I'm watching the sound engineers in the middle of the arena and how that play is they're all working together, right? That symphony of moving parts. That's what intrigues me as much as the artist that's singing on stage, because I know the record.
Pretty amazing.
But,
how that comes
yeah.
together.
So, but when I went to that rally and then I posted my pictures, that's when the drama started.
Yeah.
You knew that was going to happen, right?
I did, but I didn't. But I also thought, and this could be a little bit not ego, but confidence in the relationships that I had with the people who actually blocked me, because they should know me as a person more than what I thought they did to make that decision. And I know they made that decision out of hatred or just a quick emotion, as opposed to really taking into consideration who I am, because 90% of the people that I deal with are in LGBTQ, right? I'm not homophobic. I'm not transphobic. I'm not any phobic at all.
Yeah, that's hatred.
Only phobic I am is like fear of drowning and fear of not breathing. Those are the only phobias I have, and fear of heights, unless I'm in a plane. So the backlash that came was the drama, and I had to delete a whole bunch of people who were defending me, attacking people that I knew and were friends with, and I didn't want that war on my Facebook page.
Yeah.
Because my first rule is we don't discuss politics, we don't discuss anything. My post wasn't, hey, left, go F yourself, we're voting for Trump, da da da. It wasn't a pro-Trump post.
Yeah.
It was just, thanks to the Secret Service for inviting me, giving me a press pass. Look at this, Air Force, like Air Force, whatever. And that was it.
Yeah, but you got attached to Trump right away because of that, for sure.
Oh yeah. Well, I mean, I've always been a Trump guy. I love Trump. When we used to go to have our meetings at the Taj Mahal in Atlantic City, and I was just fascinated with him prior to that, just because he just had that presence about him. He had that cock. He was brash and he was cocky, but and I loved it.
Yeah, I do too. I really do. Hey, Charlie, when you were doing your band, did you guys cut a record?
No, no.
You didn't?
No.
Did you get to that point where like it was like picking certain songs that like the order, because I watched some of these documentaries, and when it gets, the reason why I was asking about the drama was actually, which songs do you pick? You might really love a song, but the person that's actually making that call, I think, from what I saw, they may use a whole different song, and they have a whole different reason for doing that in the actual lineup of those songs. I didn't know if you guys dealt with that.
Just me, I was the lead guitar player, and me and the lead singer disagreed about like everything.
How long did you guys last?
Couple years.
Oh,
yeah.
Wow, that's not bad for a band.
Yeah, it was horrible.
What's the average lifespan of a band that gets together? A football player is like 4.5 years. An NFL football player is 4.5 years.
If
average.
If you're not signed, I would say a year or less.
No shit.
Yeah.
And how long were the Eagles together?
The Eagles?
Yeah, the Eagles.
They're still together.
Oh, they are?
I don't know if every original member is.
Well, I think some are dead, so they're not. But I mean, so bands that end up sticking together like that are.
Or they get back together for money, like Guns N' Roses.
Yeah.
Sure.
I just found it fascinating that I think it was Aerosmith. Is it Joe Perry? That him and Tyler supposedly, I don't know if you believe all the hype, they fought like cats and dogs, right?
Oh no, they say it. They're vocal about it.
And yet they stuck together for quite a while.
They say it's a marriage,
Yeah. Interesting.
I think.
Yeah, there's just some things that you can't replace or find with somebody else, and so no matter how much you butt heads or what the deal is, the value supersedes the pettiness or the egos or whatever, because without that, there's nothing.
There's the chemistry. The chemistry is what you need, right, to make that happen. So fuck if you can't get along.
Yeah, and very few bands can find that within each other to allow that person to shine and everybody else intermingle and support that.
Yeah,
and
that would be tough.
And when everybody can find their spot, they have to shine within that spot. And
I mean, and those guys are all talented. I mean, I would think that in their own right, they would all feel like they're alphas and they should be leading. Is that true or not true?
Slash said that after Guns N' Roses, he got like all the best players, like best guitar players, best drummers, bass players, singers, and kept on trying to make a band.
Yeah.
It would never work.
Isn't that something?
So it doesn't matter having the best people in the room. It's all about chemistry.
Well, yeah, because you see that with sports teams too. They're like Dallas Cowboys. I mean, how many years have they been underperforming? And the Yankees were like that for a while too. So you're right about that. It's that certain chemistry. It's hard to find.
It's the same thing with music, and I'll give you a prime example. And Charlie will attest to this. You can hire a Grammy Award-winning songwriter and a Grammy Award-winning producer and a Grammy Award-winning sound engineer and a Grammy Award-winning mastering, whatever, and you could turn out shit.
Yeah.
Because the flow, the chemistry, the energy just isn't there. And
so
there's so many of these young artists that I got this person, and that's more exciting to them because that person won a Grammy for Christina Aguilera. But what they don't realize is they got paid Grammy money for working with Christina Aguilera. You're not paying them Grammy money in order for them to give you a Grammy award-winning type song, because they need that song to go to major label artists where they know they're going to make hundreds of thousands of dollars in publishing, because that artist is going to make that song what it is.
Yeah.
Right? If you give an A-list song to an independent artist and they don't even have the money to work it to radio, that song's never going to see the light of day. So the only thing that songwriter can hope for is to get compensated on the back end. But now their A-list song is gone.
Yeah. And don't they get screwed all the time on the back end?
Well, yeah, but then that's the reason, because there's no downloads, there's no record sales anymore.
Yeah. Yeah.
So their money is going to be based upon publishing. But if your song isn't on the radio, and most independent artists don't have, I would say a decent budget to get a song, like to prove a record that it has potential moving forward, is around 15, 20 grand. And then once you get to that spot, then you can jump into the majors and start playing ball on A markets. And that's a good 50 to 60 grand to start with.
How long does it take for a group like Charlie, like guys get together, start playing, jamming? How long does it take a group, if they're lucky, to make the big leagues?
I mean, some people have, I mean,
I know there's those that probably are they get lucky and they nail it the first time, but I guess a lot of those might be one and done. I don't know. I'm just saying.
well, I mean, there's been a lot of groups that have like opened up for other major groups, and then they've, been able to make their name quicker because they had that exposure and that visibility for opening up for like Kiss or Journey or Bon Jovi or whatever, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like a bigger rock band and stuff like that. And that's probably more the case back then when shows were more prominent as opposed to nowadays. But bands, that's a different wheelhouse. I mean, I haven't dealt with bands personally. But I mean, again, you're talking about, you need the right songs. You need the right producers. You need the right mix. They've got to be commercially acceptable. And then you got to have money to work it to radio.
Man, that's a big hurdle.
Yeah.
Nothing great like that is ever easy to begin with. But I mean, that just seems like it's so, I would say that you're more than not, you're going to fail. It's probably a minority that actually makes it, I guess. But that's not that unusual. Probably not.
I mean, the big quick route now is like everybody, all these young rappers and people are on TikTok, and the labels are now out like wolves, and they're picking these quick influencers and these quick TikTok stars, and they're signing them to these deals, and they're basically raping the kids.
Wow.
Because it's like, oh, Universal signed me. Yeah, no, Universal just raped you because you ain't going to make shit. Because not only do they own that master that made you famous, but you're not going to get paid off of it.
Oh, man.
And they have 360 degrees of your behind, which means they get a piece of your merch, they get a piece of your publishing, they get a piece of your mechanicals, they get a piece of your masters, they get a piece of your live shows, your live streams, your TikTok, your social media, and anything you ever do.
Charlie, why in the hell would you want to do something like that?
I'm not gonna lie to you. At that time, I've heard horror stories, and I was like, dude, if a deal comes, we're taking it. I was super young though, I was just like anything.
But even now, wouldn't that be the same? If you haven't made it or you haven't had a break, even now, you're older and smarter. You don't think you'd take that shit? No. Fuck.
See, I would because
I would.
My mentality is use the label for what I can use them for. They can think that they're raping me all they want, but I've got this and I've got this. And in the back of my mind, I'm going to parlay that into making these other things successful. So even if I lose money in music, I'm making money over here. Kanye West will tell you, he doesn't make money in music. He loses money. But his shoes, his church, everything else he's doing, billions of dollars.
Yeah, Beyonce too makes her money from her perfume, not her music.
I did not know that.
I got offered 10 grand to direct this werewolf. It was like a short film, 15 minutes. I said, hell no. I need too much creative control. I'm like a control freak when it comes to me being creative. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I couldn't take those kind of deals because
I commend you. I don't know if I can do that.
But then it's my name on that short film, but it's not really me. You get what I mean?
Yeah.
So I'm like, if this is shit, I don't want 10 grand.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's with remixes too. Like there's a lot of remixes that I've turned down just because, look, I can get, and I said this before, I know how to get shit to chart. And a lot of times, okay, and I'll play hypothetical with Kara. Let's say Kara can't sing to save her life. But if I can produce a vocal for Kara that she at least sounds good in just for a piece, then I can take that piece and sample it and edit it in and make a longer vocal out of that and actually make a melodic sound with vocal stabs and vocal chops and produce a dub mix that then I could get charted.
Okay,
So,
and let's make me a wine while we're at it.
So where she may not be looked at as a great singer, it doesn't matter because we never promoted that about her. This isn't about how great she sings. It's about how hot she looks. It's about her personality. It's about, like you said, the wine. It's about the presence. And it's about the creativity of doing something that's in that EDM category, right? So, for example, and I told you this on our last podcast, there was a girl out of Florida. They flew me down to meet with them, and the father has money. He's from the Dunkin' Donut family, like the founders, right? He's royalty, basically. And his daughter just wanted a chance at singing a song. She didn't think she was any good. She didn't care about being famous. She just wanted to one time make a record the right way and enjoy doing it and just see what happens. I said, okay, fair enough. But there were people they kept ripping her off, right? They would just like do this and try to make her sing hip hop and everything. It's like, you don't do this to this girl. First of all, she's not that kind of personality. She doesn't have that kind of voice. But I said to the dad, I said, listen, I've heard her stuff or whatever. And I said, on a scale of 1 to 10, she's probably a 4. And if you're okay with that, I can make something that will support that 4 and make it sound like a 7 or 8 because she's going to sing it okay. She's not going to sound bad singing that simple melody. If I gave her something that was more complex, then it would showcase. So in other words, if you were training me and on a scale of 10, my strength is a 5, you're not going to give me weight that's a 9 or a 10 because I'm going to fail at it. You're going to give me something that's lower than what I can handle so I outperform it.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Now you're going to make me look good because you didn't show off my weakness.
Yeah.
Same thing with vocal ability. Same thing with dancing, right? Same thing with modeling. You don't show off the unflattering parts of a male or female when you're shooting the ad. You pick and choose your battles. And then you complement that and support those weaknesses with other things, whether that's a car in the background or a pair of jeans or a bottle of whatever those things are to get the person's their visit, like what they're focusing on, right? There's these other things going on in the background. That's marketing, right? That's commercial. You're
market / manipulation.
Well, exactly.
Yeah.
So, and it's the same thing with music. So if you have a singer that's not that strong doing these runs and chest to falsetto or drops or dips or trills or vibratos and things like that, you get them to do the basics and then you fill in the rest of the puzzle with these other colorful vocalists or instruments and things like that. And now you have a full picture. So the end result was I got this girl to number 16 on the Billboard dance chart, and she stayed there for 3 weeks, pissed everybody off, fell back to 24, jumped back up to 20, and finally she stayed on that chart longer than any other record that I've ever worked in my life. And I made more money off of that song than I ever did remixing for Ariana Grande or Britney Spears or Hilary Duff or Rihanna or anybody else.
Yeah, wow, that's crazy.
That is really crazy.
Yeah. Not to mention that she was pleased as punch because she didn't expect that at all.
No.
You know?
So, you know, it's providing results.
Yeah.
And therein lies what we were talking about is how to, you know, if a record label approached me, yeah, I take it. But I'm also smart enough to know what I could get away with in that contract and what I can't. And they would know that I'm not that stupid to just say, oh yeah, I'll sign on the dotted line.
Yeah.
Right.
There's a difference there.
Yeah. Getting a record deal is not hard. Getting the right record deal, that's the home run.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, you know, and what we do now with unsigned artists or independent artists is it's about getting them enough visibility and trying to check off all the boxes so that then a label is interested in coming in to that next level and not ripping us off. Now they want to play ball, but they're going to play a little bit more fair. And then we've got some negotiating, you know, on our side
Yeah.
Right. We have some leverage that we can work in there. And because look, we spent the money that we needed to. And if we have money to do it again. Right.
Yeah.
So we really don't need your money, but we would like to partner up with you. And even if we have to provide the money to do this part of it, then we want you to back up the promotion and distribution side of it. So maybe we get a promotion and distribution deal, right?
Yeah.
Or a production deal where they'll give us an advance and we have to produce so many singles.
Yeah. I was going to ask where you get the money from. You like when you start like a young band like that, where do you get all this money to produce that? It's other people are fronting the money.
Yeah, it's mostly the parents. The parents are putting up the money for their kids to do something. And
there you go, Carrie. You still have a future. I mean, she's a little short. You might have to put her on a damn soapbox, Ronnie. Shoot it from a fucking.
How tall is she for real?
Yeah, I'm 5'1".
She's like 3'9".
Oh.
No, how tall are you, Carrie?
I'm 5'1".
That's bullshit. She's like.
I'm 5'1", guys.
5'1". Anyway, hey Ronnie, listen.
That's tall enough.
We're gonna go ahead and wrap this thing up. I really appreciate you coming on. I learned some really interesting
it's very
stuff.
interesting to hear about that.
You know, it's like anything else. It's always more than meets the eye. You know.
Well, the funny part was I didn't know we were recording this whole thing until like 15 minutes. I'm like, when are we starting? And then I'm like, we're just talking and talking. I'm like, is anybody going to start this thing and let me know? And then I'm like, a half hour later, I'm looking. I'm like, oh shit, we're recording.
Yeah, that's part of my the way I like doing things. You know, instead of anyway, I'm glad that you said that actually because I like to be that way. Anyway, well, listen, man,
That was fun.
Nice seeing you again and talking with you.
Yeah, really nice talking with you. This is our first time like really talking. So
yeah,
nice talking to you.
And I'm at some point, I guess all this is going to get normal again with people going out and, mingling and having concerts, because I'd like to actually come to maybe a concert that you're involved with and see all that, kind of like what you're talking about all those moving parts. I see it from a different perspective just talking to you.
Yeah.
So anyway,
me too, for sure. I mean, we're all hoping and waiting for these idiot governors to get their head out of their asses. And, like, I don't want to extend this any longer, but I tell people all the time, I'm like, I don't care how many cases there are, because that should not be the stat that decides what we do or what we don't do, because you can't even prove that those are legitimate COVID cases, let alone legitimate COVID deaths, because those people died of diabetes or cancer or anything else. And you're just listing it with it and making it seem like it's much, much bigger than what it really is.
So dishonest. It's so fucking dishonest. Makes me sick. Yeah. Anyway, we'll leave it on a negative note.
Right. Yeah, send us some of that wine too. I can't wait to check that out.
Yeah.
Kara, I'm calling you later on to talk about your recording career. So we're going to talk now.
No, I'm sure about it.
If I looked like you, he'd be talking to me that way too.
Yeah.
But I don't. Charlie and I got to go. Charlie and I have to go fuck off. Anyway.
You said something nice to me.
Chico, thanks for coming on. We'll talk to you
Appreciate
again.
it. Thanks, guys.
Thanks.
Good talking to you.
Take care.